Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another MPJ Rock Album Review Show! We're the Magnificent Three. We are magnificent because we are three. Welcome to William. Welcome to Trish. Welcome, guys.
Good morning.
So,
hello.
Simon's able, and Chris is on a cruise. Chris Cully, the Cully Master's on a cruise. We had 7 on the last lot, and now we have. We had enough Chris's boats anyway, so that's something.
And Nathan is not able to make it.
Nathan's not able to make it because of because he came back and an administrative nightmare, mostly from me.
Technical issues.
Whoopsie daisy. What can I say? So
Nigel special
from 6 to 3, but let's
professionals.
Be honest,
that's all we can say.
The most important 3, William. Is that right?
I'd argue wholeheartedly. Of course.
Me and my boys.
Oh, bless you.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
Well,
you always were my favourite.
Oh, she said all the right things, William. All the right things.
Correct.
So who we got today then? So it's Grandmaster with their album The Black Sun, or just Black Sun, against Static X and Project ReGen Volume 2. In the words of Chris Cully, he doesn't understand why they split ReGen. Maybe we can get to the bottom of that in a minute. Let's start off with Grandmaster and Black Sun. It's their second album, and the brainchild of, I think it's Yen Ledges or something like that. I'm terrible with names. So let's start then with you, William. The Grandmaster. I heard of them. What did you think? Tell me what style you think these guys are.
Yep, it's definitely music. It's definitely more of the. I'd say it's more just like a fusion of like classic heavy metal and sort of now modern, more powerfully elements it's bringing in. I really like this album. For the most part, at least. I thought the instrumentals were fantastic. There was some excellent guitar work in there, especially in tracks like what is it? When the Sun Goes Down, I thought was a brilliant track. The main thing I had issues with personally was the vocals didn't really click for me all too well. Like, I don't know, I've said it before, it's that kind of, I don't know the technical word for it, but like his style of singing is I just can't really get behind it. It's like it's missing an oomph. It's a bit too like grainy and not full of the enough substance for my liking, but overall I'd say it's a pretty solid, pretty classic album, and yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah, I was looking at some reviews of this, and they're very much on the infusion of power metal and classic kind of heavy rock kind of genre. So that's pretty much bearing out what people are kind of saying of that as well. But Trish, how about you? How about a bit of Grandmaster? Because you do like apparently a bit of Grandmaster action. Is that right?
Oh, God Almighty! Why are you like this to me? Will help.
It's called Segway.
I
know.
There's
and
no
you did
helping.
it to
I'm
me
sorry.
yesterday.
Exactly. And it wasn't just you. It's just how I can pass things on.
Good job. I've got broad shoulders and I'm a strong woman on this podcast.
But you're a rock, Trish. You're a goddess.
I am.
You are a goddess.
Okay, I'll take that. Thank you. The Grandmaster. Okay. I'd not heard of them before, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. But upon listening, this album is melodic heavy metal with a bit of power metal thrown in my opinion. Most of the songs are fast and heavy. One that I really did enjoy was Fly, Icarus, Fly, as it had a hint of symphonic melody to it. Whilst I do love a bit of power metal, this was maybe a bit on the heavier side for me, but it's still a solid offering. If you like heavier, guitar-driven power metal with raw vocals, you will enjoy this album.
Yeah, and I think that there is a line here, isn't there, between, first of all, bearing out exactly what you guys have said. This is a really good, well-produced, well-executed, power-stroke kind of classic heavy rock album. And when it's a little bit heavier and a little bit faster, it's absolutely on point. The start of the album, The Black Sun, and one of my favourites, Into the Dark, really, really cool. And it kind of borderlines almost thrash metal, but not quite. It doesn't quite chip over into that genre, but it's kind of fast guitar heavy rock. And the problem comes though with his vocals, and I absolutely agree with Will. When his vocals are at that sort of tempo, they're absolutely fine. They're really good. But when it slows down, when it goes down, and I love a rock ballad, and there are a few slower tracks in there, it doesn't really kind of cut the mustard for me. When you compare, when people like Five Finger Death Punch and people like that, when they do call them more kind of rock ballads, that their vocals can, I think, kind of stand out and are, you go, wow, I couldn't imagine a real kind of fast kind of singer who's really kind of screaming, punching it out. Their vocals will be able to produce a melody and a ballad of that power. But and when he slows down, unfortunately for me, it doesn't really kind of click when other kind of vocal people do it. So I think in terms of what I think his style is, I think he really wants to keep out. You wouldn't imagine. I don't like his vocals to AC/DC, but I would say a similar thing. You can't ever imagine AC/DC doing a slow kind of rock ballad. They never did it because it didn't really suit their style, and I don't think those slower tracks suited their style. So I just think he took the edge off of it, because as I say, when it was fast and heavy, it was outstanding. But as an album, mixing it up, and I love people mixing it up, it just didn't quite gel for me with those grainy vocals, if that kind of made sense. Yeah. Okay, so they're up against Static X and their album Project ReGen Volume 2. In the words of Cuddy, why split it? Let's try and find out. Well, I'm going to start with you again, only because I know you know Project X, so or Static X. So you've heard of them before, is that right?
I have heard of them. From just general listening to this kind of music over the years, I couldn't really put in like a face to the name, but I do recognise the sound and know it. I mean, this album is very me. It's a bit weird. It's like a weird fusion of like techno, 90s industrial, and just general metal and that kind of thing, which I think is really cool. Because, why not merge all those things together? When I think industrial, I think the next logical combination is techno, obviously. So that sort of overtones are in there. I was quite a fan of this album. I think it was really good. This may be a very me thing, but probably due to the whole 90s thing. A lot of songs, the instrumentals remind me a lot of Command & Conquer, and like old Command & Conquer games. I think especially Black Star. Just all the instruments in that, I was like, the intro started off, I was like, this is just Frank Klepacki and other things like that. It's very me. It's the best way I've worked I can describe it. It's like quite grungy vocals, quite shouty, screamy at times. Zombie, I think, is one that does that a lot, where it goes from like slower industrial noises to some shouty noise. Yeah, that's my very technical description of it. I think if you like weird techno-y industrial music like me, this is going to be pretty fantastic for you. Professional, I am.
Well, so let's go to somebody who I would say suggests that probably doesn't really kind of like this techno, grungy sort of music. But who knows? On this journey, she has been known to surprise us. Trish, are you going to surprise us? Are you going to tell us you love this album, or is it going to be what I suspect, that you didn't really kind of ring your bell?
Wow. I'm going to surprise ya.
Really? Okay, wow.
Yeah. I really had no idea what to expect with this album, as I'd not heard of them. But my gut instinct was it was going to be full-on growlo. But what I was hit with was techno industrial metal rock with Stay Alive on the opening track, which is followed by Zombie, and it's great drums. Yes, there's a bit of growler and rap thrown in for good measure. I love the Prodigy, who set the bar for this kind of music when they first hit my ears in the 90s. So this, for me, was quite akin to that. I actually loved this album, and the more I listen to it, the more I enjoy it. Sometimes it's good to have a mix of different genres of music on your playlist to suit your mood or what you want for a day, and I've added this album to my playlist. Static X have mastered this genre of music. They balance the lyrics and musicality well to me. I could definitely see me going to see them at a festival if they were playing like I did the Prodigy. Good job. You have added a new listener to your music via this album.
WTF. WTF. What the... Do you know, Will?
You've broken him.
I mean,
You've confused him.
If we'd started this journey and Static X was one of the first albums that we put on here, this would have been a completely different review. But, kudos to you, Trish. Kudos to you for, taking that on board and kind of running with it. And I have to echo that as well, because I am the same ilk. I didn't hate this album. It was, it really wasn't quite my cup of tea, but I appreciated how good how well it was produced, etc. as well. There was just enough. At times it went a bit too far with the growler and the screamer for me, but there was also enough in there in terms of the balance between what I call normal kind of singing and that kind of infusion of rock and techno. And it was an okay album. I actually didn't hate it. I actually kind of had some mild enjoyment from it. It was not an album that I'm going to go back to, but if it was on, I would be more than happy to listen to. I thought it was quite solid, actually. And there was a lot of really good elements that I actually quite enjoyed. So that, and I wasn't expecting to as well. So again, well done to Static X. I think you've got that balance just right. Well, if it was just right, I probably would have given you a lot more. But I think in terms of the general populace and the general thing, I think you've got that balance absolutely just right with this album. Solid, yeah, really good, really good. Yeah, solid album. Without it being like amazing for me. Okay, so in terms of a Zombie, by the way, Zombie did make my playlist, so I think it's a really cracking.
That's a really cool song.
Tune. So let's get to the votes then, and let's find out which one. So it's got to get an average of 4 to hit out Hall of Fame, which might be slightly easier with only 4 votes at this minute in time. That might well change if Simon can manage to get his votes in. But for now, before we publish the votes, let's find out then. So we'll start with Cully, because he's not here, because very easily he gave both his albums 3.5, but he would buy Static X on that score. So Trish, what about you?
Grandmaster?
Yeah.
3.
3. And Static X?
I got a 5.
Really?
Oh, look at that!
I loved it.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Wow.
There you go.
That's amazing. So 2-0 to Static X at the minute. Will, well, yeah, I think I know one this might be going, but let's find out. Well, give us your votes for Grandmaster.
It's a 3.5.
3.5. That's pretty solid. And Static X.
Yeah, it's a 5 as well.
A 5 as well.
It made me think.
Fuck out of here, people.
It made me think of Command and Conquer. I'm sorry. I can't be held accountable.
Will, how often is it you and I are on the same page?
I like this new change. Let's keep it going.
Well, no, when it comes to symphonic metal, maybe, but yeah, okay. Grandmaster got a 4 from me, and Static X got a 3.5 from me. So pretty solid stuff, yeah. So, well, Static X wins the battle of the bands 3-1, but it was still super close. 7, 10.5, 11. 14. It's not quite enough. It needed 16 with 4 votes to get into Hall of Fame. But I'm thinking here at 17, it's Hall of Fame unless Simon's votes come in, which I can't imagine is going to change that much for Static X. I think he's going to probably quite like it. So Hall of Fame stuff. Congratulations to Static X. And actually, maybe on average-wise, our top album of the year so far. So,
wow,
it's going to be about 4.2, I think. So, okay. Well, thank you very much for today's show. Thank you very much to Trish and to William. And keep rocking out there. Please like and subscribe our channel. And speak soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.